On September 4th of this year, 2025, in episode 214 of this podcast, I I talked about the 5 financial archetypes. And I spoke about the 5 different types of people that I've worked with in 5 different, let's call them economic and financial and nervous system situations. And I went from debt dweller to tightrope walker to margin manager to stressed success to money monk. And that was from lowest to highest in the, I guess, in the hierarchy that I've experienced of people in their economic and their financial situation. Now, look, I think we'll all agree, like money is a good thing. Okay. Having a lot of money is a good thing. It provides lots of options. It provides lots of opportunities. It provides the further expansion and evolution of our life because, the more personal development work that I do, the more I spend and invest on, retreats and on coaches and on teachers and trainings, the more I invest, the more I grow. And the more I grow, the more I have to share to impact the world. So it requires money to fund all of that. So the more money we have, the more we can grow, the more we can evolve, the more we grow and evolve, the more we impact and help to reshape the world and lift other people up. So money is an awesome, awesome thing. Now, one thing I'll tell you is one of the common pitfalls in the money world, in the financial world is, and there's a teacher named Jesse Elder, and he uses this phrase. He said, money is awesome fuel, but it's a horrible destination. And one of the archetypes, the stress success, they live as if the outcome, the destination, having more money will make them arrive in some way, shape, or form. And it's just not true. It's just not the case. So in working with these 5, what I realized, and look, T. Harv Eker in the book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, calls it your financial thermostat. Gay Hendricks in The Big Leap calls it your upper limit. And what they all say the same thing is that we are calibrated and built and designed and wired at any given time for the exact circumstances that are showing up in our life. And if you're wired for debt, you don't be surprised when you're always in a situation where debt is prevalent in your life. And I've worked with plenty of people, not as many as some of the other archetypes, but I've worked with plenty of people that it's like their whole life is spent getting out of debt, unproductive debt, because in the real estate investment world, in the investment world, there is productive debt where you actually use debt to create cash flow. And I do that. Angie and I, my wife Angie and I, we own parts of a company, of companies, and we use some debt that we pay to the bank to fund these investments that return at a higher rate of return. And that's productive debt. Our money, we're borrowing money to make more money. Productive use of debt. So I'm talking about unproductive debt. I'm talking about debt where we're actually spending money with no return, with no financial return in mind. We're just literally just throwing money away with nothing in return, with nothing being reciprocated, coming back at us. But with debt dwellers, it's like this battle to get back to zero. And then when they do get back to zero, and they oftentimes do, when they get back to zero, they find a way back down into debt because they are designed and they are wired for debt. As crazy as that sounds, as insane as that sounds, it's like their body and their wiring and their nervous system, they feel most familiar, they feel most certain in debt. All right. Now, listen, your nervous system, I mentioned this word, this phrase, nervous system, and your nervous system, there's only one reason only one outcome that your nervous system is looking to accomplish, and it's to keep you alive. And it keeps you alive by keeping you, looking to and attempting to keep you in familiar circumstances. And it looks to keep you in familiar circumstances so because it knows how to operate there, and so that it's familiar with the challenges and the obligations and the certainty that comes from this familiarity of these circumstances, even if it's debt. As crazy as this sounds, your nervous system in its design, it's looking to keep you in debt. As crazy, as ludicrous as that sounds. And that's why somebody in the debt dweller category, they'll make their way back up to zero, but as soon as they get to zero, their nervous system will start to feel unsafe and it'll get them back down into debt. The next level up is the tightrope walker. And maybe you know somebody like this, that they get a little bit of margin, and they spend it, they get rid of it, they lose it, they do something, I don't know, it falls out of their out of their wallet, I don't know, but they get back, and then they get into a little bit of debt, and then they work, get a little bit of margin, then they spend it, and it's like they walk this tightrope, not too much margin, not too much debt, but they're walking this fine line. It's because their body and their nervous system is built to walk the tightrope. The next step up, and this is the margin manager. It's where you have margin, where, in my life, money has never been an issue. I've always had enough. I've never had a bill that I couldn't pay, had late and paid them late, just from lack of administrative processes in my life, but never had a bill that just couldn't pay, or that I had to, move things around for. There was always enough margin in my life. Making money has not, it's not been a challenge. I've done hard things, ridiculous, stressful things to make money, but finding ways to make money and finding opportunities to make money has never really been a challenge for me. So the margin's always been there. But there have been a few times in my life where when I've started to experience overflow, and when I experienced overflow, it's almost like my life and my nervous system started to collapsing and started to feel unsafe, and I don't know how to explain it. It's like, for whatever reason, you start to play defense instead of offense, and it all falls back, and then suddenly, those multiple times, that was back into margin, right, instead of overflow. So a margin manager is someone that their body feels safe in margin, but not truly wired and designed to feel safe and to feel okay in excess. The next step up, and this is the money is awesome fuel, but a horrible destination. Distressed success often finds himself where just more money. As soon as I have more money, I'll feel safe. But their nervous system is not wired to feel safe. This is why they might have overflow and absolute abundance in their life, but they don't have the nervous system to actually enjoy it. Then at the highest level is the money monk. And I've also worked with some of those folks. I do work with some of these folks. And they have a lot of money. They have overflow. They have excess. They have tons of options. And their body is built to have it, to hold it, to enjoy it. And they've built peace and tranquility in their nervous system from internal spiritual work of letting go of any and all suffering, stress, struggle that's collected and accumulated in the nervous system. All 5 of these archetypes are based on the wiring and the way that your nervous system is built, from the brain to the spinal column to the nervous system tentacles that go throughout the body and the arms and the legs. And your nervous system accumulates beliefs, accumulates preferences. Your nervous system accumulates different approaches to life, and that's just how it is. And as you live from the wiring of your nervous system, that's almost automatic, then you continue to find yourself in familiar circumstances, looking to get to the next level. But ultimately, ultimately unable to at times because you're wired to stay exactly where you are because the nervous system is built for survival by staying in familiar circumstances because it knows how to operate there. I hope this is making sense. Now, in episode 214, I also talked about how the nervous system, the ego, and the subconscious are all the same thing. My foundation of understanding at this present moment is that the nervous system, the ego, and the subconscious are all the same thing. And this is why most of life is spent in just autopilot. And we keep bringing ourselves back to familiar circumstances because our nervous system, our ego, our subconscious is built for survival, to stay familiar, because we know how to operate there. Hope all this is making sense. But listen, after I released that episode, I got this idea, and I I like the words money monk, and obviously that's if you don't aspire to be a money monk, then I don't know why you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, because I believe we all really aspire to be a money monk, to have overflow and excess in our life, and to be able to hold it and enjoy it, and to let go of all the stress and struggle and all the agitation that accumulates in this meat suit, in this body of ours. All right. That's what we're all after, the money monk. All right. Now, what I did after I released that episode is I started really thinking about how powerful and impactful of not just, how impactful it is to know what archetype you're sitting in, but the nervous system work that goes into creating a higher level circumstance. And when I have a Choose Your Destiny live intensive, or when I have an Inner Wealth Mastermind retreat, I do a lot of meditative work with folks. And this meditative work helps them feel more at ease, feel more powerful, feel more authentic, feel more powerful, feel more impactful, feel more valuable, feel more loved, feel more loving, because all of these things are built into your nervous system as well. And by the meditative and the energy and the somatic work that we do in these live events, in these live containers, then as we realign our nervous system slash ego slash subconscious, as we realign it, it naturally moves us to a higher frequency, a higher vibration. And at a higher frequency and a higher vibration, we attract higher level circumstances. So this is really just about, you can call it the Sedona method is a great method for this. I've talked about the drill method on this podcast before. These are all release techniques to let go of the damage that's in our nervous system so that we can ascend the level and the scale of consciousness so that we can live at a higher frequency, a higher vibration, and attract higher frequency and higher vibration circumstances. And this is how we ultimately ascend into higher levels of financial archetype. And this is all the same work that I do in the workshop and in the intensive or in the retreat. And I want to share this about the financial archetypes, knowing that it's also going to have huge impacts in every other area of your life. And I got this idea for a really cheeky name, and I've been sharing it lately, and that's Monkify Your Money Game. And I think that's a really cool way of expressing the work that we're going to be doing in a 5-week live or 5-week virtual live training experience that I'm launching on October 13th. And this 5-week container, I'm going to do trainings every week. We're going to have a follow-up. We're going to have 2 sessions a week. We're going to have a training in the first session. We're going to have a follow-up Q&A. I'm going to be sharing my meditation package with you. I'm going to be sharing the what you're going to be doing and the why you're going to be doing. I'm also going to share the how with the meditation package. So when you understand the what you're doing, the why you're doing it, and how you're doing it, you can't lose. And you're going to ascend in first of all, your nervous system level, but you're also going to ascend the scale of consciousness, and you're going to ascend your financial archetype, and it's going to reframe and recalibrate your financial game. Ultimately, with the end destination over time, as you do this work, to monkify your money game, to have a lot, to hold a lot, and to enjoy a lot from a state of peace and prosperity, not just stressed success. And I do know a guy that has a lot of money, and he comes really close to working with me regularly, but he just won't cross the line. He just won't cross over that threshold. And I know that by doing this work, he can move from stressed success to a money monk. And he expresses that he wants that, but he just won't take the step. Just won't take that step. And I'm inviting not just stressed successes, but I'm inviting debt dwellers. I'm inviting tightrope walkers. I'm inviting margin managers. I'm inviting stress successes. I'm inviting even money monks into a deeper level of connection with me to monkify your money game. On October 13th, I'm going to launch this training, and it's going to go 5 weeks. But on October 8th of 2025, at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'm going to hold a free webinar where I explain again in detail the 5 financial archetypes, the energetic work that is required to shift the contents and the makeup and the design and the wiring in the nervous system. And I'm also going to be sharing an invitation to work with me in Monkify Your Money Game, the 5-week live. And I'm also going to be sharing a couple other bonuses inside of the webinar. Guys, this is, if you've ever wanted to level up in your financial world, but if you, at a minimum, if you want to understand why you are where you are in your money game, this is a great container for you. This will be an awesome training for you. Even the webinar. But not only are you going to understand why you are where you are, you're going to understand the tools that can shift you to a higher level. And I want to share that with all you guys. All right. Now, this thing, there's not a lot of time left. All right. There's not a lot of time left. And I've been offering the training for some time. I've got some people enrolled, but this is going to be a really small container. It's not going to be this large container, right? There's going to be a handful of people. And what I mean by that is looking at the container right now, it's probably going to be around 10 students in the 5-week container. And it's going to be a small, intimate affair where we get to really connect. I get to do a lot of interaction with you. You get to work directly with me, and I get to show up for you. You get to show up for yourself, and the community. In a lot of these virtual containers I've had, the community actually starts to show up for each other in these containers. All right. These little 4 and 5 week virtual trainings that I have are super, super powerful. They're super impactful. And they're really easy. They're virtual. All right. And we keep the recordings. The recordings are available for you for all time. And I want to make this accessible to you. In the show notes below, I'm going to put the links to Monkify Your Money Game, the webinar. And I'm going to put the link to Monkify Your Money Game, the 5-week live intensive, virtual intensive that starts. The webinar on October 8th, which is next week, and the live intensive, which is October 13th, which is a little under 2 weeks. I'm encouraging you at a minimum to come to the webinar, and then I hope from there you choose to take another step closer with me. I am charging for the live intensive. I don't charge a lot for these things. I want the right people. I want them impactful. I want them powerful, and I want them to make a definite impact in your life, for you to see life differently as you leave this container than you walked in. All right. If any of this sounds awesome to you, I would love to have you in the webinar and in the live intensive, at a minimum in the webinar. All right. Lean into me. Take a step closer. Take a step closer. Invite me into your world. I want to be part of your world. I want to move the needle with you. I've got training and I've got insights and I've got tools that will help move the needle in your life. All you need to do is let me know that an invitation and give me permission to start helping you shift the circumstances in your life. And when you choose to show up for yourself, I'll show up for you too. All right. Either way, take the next step. Links are below. I hope to see you there.